The engagement party was held at the Hargrove Country Club. White tablecloths, chandeliers, waiters in black jackets moving silently between tables. Gerald Hargrove had arranged everything: his club, his guest list, his version of a celebration. I wore my navy blue suit. Rebecca had picked it out 9 years ago for our anniversary dinner. She said it made me look like a man who had built something real. I never bought another one after she passed. It still fit. I parked my truck in the lot and walked inside alone. Emily met me at the door. 28 years old, a hospital administrator at Mercy General, the same hospital where Michael practiced cardiology. That was how they had met 3 years ago. She had managed the budget for his department renovation. He had asked her to dinner 6 times before she said yes. She told me later she made him work for it. Her mother would have loved that story. She took my arm at the door and squeezed it. "You look great, Dad." "So do you, sweetheart." She had worked in my office every summer from 16 to 22, answered phones, managed invoices, learned the business from the floor up. Numbers, contracts, employee schedules, she knew everything. Not because I asked her to, because she was curious about everything her father did. Her mother had been exactly the same way. She walked me to the main table. Gerald and Patricia Hargrove were standing with Michael. Gerald was a tall man, silver hair, the particular confidence of someone who had never spent a single day wondering how bills would get paid. He shook my hand briefly, said nothing, and looked at me the way certain people look at something unexpected in a familiar room. Patricia smiled politely and turned away. I had been receiving that look my entire adult life. It had never once changed anything. I sat down, picked up my water glass, and waited. Dinner was served at 7. By 7:30, Gerald had finished his second whiskey and ordered a third. At 7:45, he stood up and tapped his glass. "I want to welcome everyone tonight to celebrate Michael and Emily's engagement," he began. "We are so proud of our son, a cardiologist, his own practice, everything we raised him to become." Applause from the Hargrove side. Emily is clearly a bright young woman. Michael chose well. He paused, took a slow breath, the whiskey and the audience giving him more confidence than the moment required. "I'll be honest. When Michael first mentioned her, I did some checking. A father does his homework. Basic internet search. Found that her father works as a plumber." He looked at me across the table. I thought, a plumber at our family table? Is this really the right fit for us? Quiet, uncomfortable laughter from a few guests who were not sure whether to go along with it. Michael's jaw tightened. He looked at his plate. I set my water glass down, folded my hands, said nothing. Gerald raised his champagne glass with a generous smile as if he had said something worth applause. But love is love. We welcome Emily into our family, unconditionally. He said it like a man who expected to be thanked. My daughter set down her fork, stood up. She did not prepare a speech. I know my daughter. What came next was not prepared. It was simply everything she already knew, spoken out loud for the first time. "I want to say something," Emily said. Her voice was quiet, completely steady. "You mentioned you did some research, Gerald, a basic internet search." She looked at him directly. "Here's what a basic search misses. My father started in the trade at 19, worked under other contractors for 11 years, saved carefully. In 1998, he started his own company, Patterson Plumbing and Mechanical Services, 18 employees. Last year, the company brought in just under $3 million. The The table went completely silent. He drives the same work truck he has driven for 12 years, not because he can't afford a new one, because he finishes what he starts. That's who he is. She paused. Michael was looking at her now, not at his plate, at her, his eyes very still. My mother passed when I was 14. My father raised me alone from that point. He worked 6 days a week and never once missed anything that mattered to me. Not one play, not one conference, not one hard night when I needed him. Her voice stayed level throughout. So when you ask if a plumber belongs at your family table, I want you to understand something. She looked at Michael. I said yes to your son because he is kind and hardworking and treats every person around him with genuine respect, because he is, in the ways that actually matter, very much like my father. She looked back at Gerald. I hope someday that feels like the compliment it is. She sat down. The room held its breath. Then Michael pushed back his chair and stood. He did not look at Emily. He looked at his father. Dad, apologize to Mr. Patterson. Gerald stared at his son. The whiskey confidence had gone somewhere. His face had the look of a man recalculating quickly. Michael, this isn't... Please, Dad. One word. Please. But the way he said it left no room. Gerald set his champagne glass down, looked at me. Robert, I apologize. That was out of line. It was not a warm apology, but it was a real one. Thank you, Gerald, I said. Patricia reached over quietly and put her hand on her husband's arm. Then she began to clap. Slowly, deliberately. The room followed her. Near the end of the evening, Michael came and sat beside me. I should have stopped him the moment he started, he said. You stopped him when it mattered, I said. That's the only moment that counts. He looked across the room at Emily. She was talking with Patricia, who had found her way to Emily's side an hour earlier and had not left it since. Something had shifted in Patricia the moment her son stood up. Some decision made quietly. She told me about your company a long time ago, Michael said. She's incredibly proud of you. Everything she's built in her career. She said she learned how to work by watching you. I looked at my daughter, her mother's eyes, her mother's laugh, her mother's absolute refusal to let a room define her. Take care of her, I said. Every day, he said. I give you my word. I drove home alone. Same roads I had driven for 30 years, past neighborhoods where I had worked, buildings all across this city running quietly on work that men like me had done, and that men like Gerald had never once thought about. I pulled into my driveway and sat in the quiet. Rebecca, I thought. She stood up in a room full of people who had already decided who I was, and she told them exactly who I am. You would have been so proud. Over the following week, my phone recorded 41 missed calls. Not from Gerald directly, from his business partner, a man named Caldwell who managed their medical group's properties. 3 commercial buildings, full plumbing overhauls needed. They had apparently contacted 4 contractors. My company had come up in every recommendation. Caldwell left a message on the final call. Mr. Patterson, we understand if you're not interested, but we genuinely appreciate the chance to discuss this. Please call us when you're ready. I thought about it for 3 days. Then I called him back. Not for Gerald's sake, For my 18 employees. For the work. For the simple reason that good work deserves to go where it's needed, regardless of who stands on the other side of the table. Some men spend their whole lives deciding who belongs at their table. I spent mine building one large enough for everyone. Rebecca always said that was my best quality. I think she was right. Was this revenge perfectly justified, or should the storm have raged harder? Drop your verdict below. I read every single one. Hit like if you crave justice, and share this story with someone who needs its fire. Subscribe to Lauren's story, because here, betrayals don't sleep. They hunt their owners. Every shadow hides a reckoning. Every mask breaks, and every betrayal is answered. Stay sharp. Stay unbroken. Stay tuned.